Welcome to the Aging Boomers. I'm your host, Frank Sampson. Of course, on our show, we discuss so many of the issues facing boomers, their parents, and we know, of course, it's an aging population, which I fall right in the middle of. We have with us Fred Bartlit, who is a trial lawyer considered by Chambers USA Legal Rankings 2017 as, quote, arguably the best trial lawyer in the United States. He's also the only trial lawyer to have been selected by two U.S. presidents from two different parties for representation on various cases. Fred co-founded StrongPath.com and co-authored Choosing the Strong Path, both created to educate adults and how strength training can help combat disease. Fred wants to encourage everyone to die living, not live dying. So, Fred, welcome to the Aging Boomers. Thanks for joining us.
Well, I'm honored to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, so you've been a trial lawyer. Now you start up this organization called Strong Path, which is also StrongPath.com. Tell us a little more about why you started this organization.
Well, like many things important in life, there was a woman involved.
Okay.
I met this woman 36 years ago, and we've now been married 32 years. And when I got married, I was 54 when I married her. And she said during those years we got to know each other, you know, you're not exercising enough, you're going to die young, you're wasting your time. You've got to start going to the gym. And I did, because I was taken by her and wanted to make her happy and hoped she'd marry me, and she did. So from the time I was 53, 54 on, I worked out extremely hard with her in different gyms around the world. And then I noticed something. I noticed that as I was in my early 60s, all my buddies, skiing buddies, golfing buddies, were beginning to disappear. Their knees hurt, their legs hurt, this hurt, that hurt. I got curious. I started doing research of peer-reviewed medical research. Everything I cite in my book is all peer-reviewed, and I found there's a disease out there that most people don't even know they have, that every single person in America has. I have, you have, every one of your listeners has it. It's called sarcopenia. And this disease begins sapping your strength and destroying it at age 30, and accelerates in your 50s and again as you get into your 60s. And it basically lays waste to the last half of a lot of people's adult lives. And the amazing thing is your doctor doesn't know a thing about it.
Right. And
ask him. I don't think you'll be surprised.
Right. Well, I mean, I think one thing, you know, we do know, and I think hopefully many people know, is that muscle mass starts to increase as we age, and it's certainly, it should be a known fact. There's enough publicity on it that people should be doing exercising. But I guess let me ask you, in your research, I mean, is it ever too late to start exercising? I mean, could it be too late that, hey, you get into your 70s or 80s, you really haven't exercised, like you said, the knees are hurting, the back's hurting, this is hurting. Did you wait too long?
Well, I'm not a physician, so I'm hesitant to give medical advice, but Harvard, Carnegie Mellon, Mayo Clinic all say it's basically never too late. Of course, you want to check with your doctor. But they all say that people that have had heart attacks, people that have had cancer, ought to exercise intensely. And there's all kinds of data on how intense exercise changes your life in ways you would never even imagine. So the answer is it's never too late.
Yeah. So
what's interesting is that this disease is far worse. A lot of people have seen their aunts and uncles and grandparents get frail as they get older, but the disease is worse than anybody can imagine. The U.S. government, about a year ago, named it as one of the 2 or 3 worst diseases in America because everybody gets it, and it ruins your life. And as they said, there's no cure. I think they're wrong. And probably the top bioethicist doctor in America, Oxford, Harvard, all the right schools, just wrote a long article saying it's better to die at 75 because after 75, life is not worth living because of frailty and aging.
Yeah.
He's wrong.
Right. So what happens from your research? I know you're a practicing attorney, not a medical doctor, but in your research, what happens if somebody really does nothing, and this sarcopenia that you stated that everybody has, what happens?
Well, our bodies, our genome was designed by natural selection 50,000 years ago. And that was at a time when there was 24/7 intense physical activity just to stay alive and feed your family. And that means that not only our muscles, but our eyes, every blood vessel, every cell in our body was designed specifically for intense physical exercise. So you put that body designed for one world in today's totally sedentary world. The average 60-year-old woman doesn't have 1 hour a year of intense physical exercise, and the body is in a world it's not matched for, and it deteriorates rapidly. It's just that simple. There's a mismatch between our genome, what it was designed for, in today's sedentary world.
Yeah. I'd love to get your opinion. I heard an interesting comment actually just yesterday. It was a conference I was at. And there were a few geriatricians that were speaking, and even though they didn't bring up the term sarcopenia, certainly all agreed exactly what you're saying, that exercise is key. But one of the doctors said, don't use the term exercise. It's almost like people feel, a lot of people say, exercise, all right, this is something I've got to do that I really don't want to do. I mean, really, you can get the exercise by just, parking when you go to the grocery store, park far away and walk. You could, just going for walks, doing things. Don't call it exercise. What's your opinion on that?
Well, intense exercise changes your life forever. Any exercise is better than none. But listen to what people like Harvard, the UK medical colleges, the CDC says. Harvard Medical School, exercise is a preventive and even an antidote to disability of aging. If exercise could be bottled, it would be the most prescribed medicine. Exercise has a bigger impact on disease risk than about any other remedy. The UK Academy of Medical Sciences, physical activity is a miracle cure for a wide range of conditions, including sarcopenia. Center for Disease Control in the U.S., regular physical activity is a wonder drug. Time Magazine, Science of Aging, exercise is a silver bullet that alters the natural course of aging, actually slows down the aging of our cells. And if a little gentle exercise is better than none, then hard, intense exercise is way better, and I can promise you it changes your life forever.
Yeah. So has it shown that the strength training can avoid some of the more life-threatening diseases like heart disease, Alzheimer's, and even some cancers? Yeah? Okay.
Yes, for example, women in the top 10% of fitness have a 90% less chance of getting Alzheimer's than women in the middle cohort of fitness. 90% less. 10 kinds of cancer, heart disease, all are reduced from 20 to 50%. This is all in our book, by intense physical exercise. These chronic diseases basically didn't exist that much 50,000 years ago, and a lot of them are just a function of complete inactivity.
Yeah. Well,
so it's not just being stronger. It's controlling these chronic. For example, men who get prostate cancer, if they exercise intensively, they have a 68% less chance of dying from prostate cancer.
That's amazing. So
it is amazing, isn't it?
It is. So talk to us a little bit about Strong Path. I mean, is there a program that you suggest? Is it something that people can look at online and learn more? Tell us more about that. Certainly tell us more about the book. Help us understand the benefits of Strong Path that people could take a look at.
So Harvard Medical School has allowed us to put on our website 2 or 3 of their videos showing how to get started on the Strong Path. Actually, what exercises to do, how often to do them, and that sort of thing. Our website, strongpath.com, no ads, no pop-ups, just actual research. And once you get started, you'll see yourself changing. I've got in my book a number of people that I experimented with whose lives were changed. They went from people who were in danger of being fired from their jobs to having huge responsibilities. When you go on the Strong Path, your mind changes, your thought process changes, your quickness changes, your confidence changes. You know, as you get older, you kind of walk slowly and check on the stairs and all that. All that is dramatically reduced when you're strong. And finally, the only condition that is correlated with a happy years of your life from 60 to 90, the only condition is strength. Nobody ever talks about strength. They talk about being skinny. They talk about cardio, which is important, but what really saves you is pure strength, and you get that by, sadly, hard work pumping iron.
So how do you get that person that really never did that type of exercise their whole life? You know, they might have participated in some sports, but they just never pumped iron. They never did that strength exercise. How do you get them to do this?
Well, what's interesting is that women 55 to 70, they seem to get what we're advocating quicker than most people. Successful men in their 60s and 70s, they don't like the idea of going to a gym and, you know, being weaker than all these strong young men and women that are there and that kind of thing. So motivation, I have to confess, is a huge job. You have to give people examples of what the downward spiral of aging is like and how resistance training, weight training, actually reverses that. I mean, right now, there's brand new research, no more than a couple of weeks old, that our cells are actually made younger by weight training, the cells of our bodies. It's remarkable, and the research is just really beginning in this area because sarcopenia was only named a disease about a year ago.
So what would you say, I'm working with you here. I want to get people to do this, all right? So
right. What
would you say kind of the minimum amount of exercise you feel someone should get? Let's say somebody in their 50s or somebody in their 60s or even older than that. Is it different depending upon the age group? And what you know, how much time do you think needs to be devoted to this? And are they, you know, really working up a sweat? Or explain a little bit more.
Yeah, the minimum is about 3 days a week, an hour a day. That will change your life, but as with anything else, the more you do, the better it works. It's just that simple. Yeah. So I work out every single day, and I was a U.S. Army Ranger when I was 22, and I'm stronger now than when I was a U.S. Army Ranger, and I'm 86. That's good.
That's great. It's not good. That's great. Yeah. So what can people expect if they go to your website? I mean, what will they, I know you said there's no ads and all that, but are they really giving a are you providing a step-by-step? Here's what you do?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay.
Yes. If they go to our website, they will be blown away, and I don't say that lightly, both by the brand new research there and by the videos showing exactly what you do to get started, how long it takes, how intense it has to be, and that sort of thing. The videos are from Harvard and other similar institutions, highly reputable. I know Dr. Oz stuff, with all due deference.
Mm-hmm. And is do you feel that they're going to need a trainer in addition to this, or is this something somebody could do if they have equipment at their own home? Could they do it at their own home? Or are you suggesting they go to a gym? Yeah.
They can, but your focus is the baby boomers, and something like 10,000 a day turn 65. The U.S. government has a program that pays for your gym dues if you're over 65. It's called Silver Sneakers. And you can go to a gym and you can start with a trainer. You'll get the hang of it pretty quickly, and you can operate on your own.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So I think I know the answer to this question, but I'm going to answer it anyway and like to get more comments from you on this. Do you think our country's ready to deal with what we refer to as the silver tsunami that's coming?
Well, no. The Congress set up a commission in 2013 to come up with the awesome accelerating costs of long-term care for the 76 million boomers. About 75% of people over 65 will be disabled. And the commission quit because they couldn't come up with a solution. And what's happening is that the baby boomers are facing an avalanche of costs careening down the mountain of life, and nobody's doing a thing to prepare any of them for it. That's why I wrote this book.
Right. And how could somebody get the book?
Amazon.
Okay. And it's called Strong.
It's called Choosing the Strong Path.
Okay.
Reversing the Downward Spiral of Aging.
Great.
And my name, Bartlit, Bartlit. I think right now we're number one in the world in exercise for aging people, and our target audience are the 76 million boomers.
Right.
They all thought that you're one of them. Everybody thought they'd live forever, and have this great life, and now they're slowing down, and they're falling down. If you fall down and you're bedridden for a week, you lose half your strength. And if you don't pump iron, you will never get it back. You'll just do less and get weaker till your world shrinks around you and you're in a room by yourself. That's what's happening. And Congress gave up trying to do anything about it.
Yeah, it's sad. So what do you say to those people, and I kind of fall into that, they got a bad knee, the knee's hurting, the hip is hurting, whatever the case may, the lower back is hurting. I can't do that exercise. What do you say to those people?
If they exercise, those pains will go away.
Yeah.
Most of them come from inactivity.
Right. And I assume that on your website it would say those that maybe are having pains, there's maybe you do different type of exercises versus those that are painless.
Yes, but I include in there, Harvard has allowed us to market through our website all of their publications on strength for aging people. And they will say in there, people that have had strokes should work out with weights to failure. People who have had heart attacks should do this. Now, you want to check with your doctor and all that, but most of the time, people that have aches and pains will find that those aches and pains will go away if they engage in resistance training. It's remarkable. Our bodies were designed for exercise. If we don't exercise them, they start hurting.
Yeah. So at the very beginning, you brought up your incentive. You met a wonderful woman. She wanted you to live a long time and get healthy, and that was your incentive. What do you say to the people listening who have a loved one, whether it be a spouse, a parent, a boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever the case may be? What suggestion do you have to them to try to get their loved one to do kind of what you've done and get with it on the exercise program? If
you're 60, the mode is 90. That means statistically the age you're most likely to live to is 90. That's 30 years. That's almost half your adult life. Yet for many, many people, maybe most people, from the middle 60s on, they gradually spiral down and their life gets worse and worse. They can't do the things they love. They can't enjoy life. I mean, what's more important than life? If there was a drug you could take that would make those last 30 years wonderful, everybody would pay $7,000 or $8,000 a year for it. The drug is called exercise, and it works.
Yep.
And that's why all of these wonderful medical institutions say again and again, it's a miracle cure. It's a miracle drug. It makes your cells young again. If you can reverse the downward spiral of aging and enjoy those wonderful years. I'm 86. I'm a stronger skier, a better golfer. I play basketball. I can do anything I want to do. I don't have to think about it. It's wonderful to have a life and not be worried about whether you're going to be able to get out of a chair.
So some of those friends you talked about at the beginning that you have that had the bad knees and all that, did they buy into your program? Any results from people personally?
Yes, in my book I've got 8 or 10 people who were out of shape, unfit, unhappy, and we follow their progress. It is, however, very sad. And in college, I had 2 roommates, an All-American lacrosse player and an All-American swimmer. They both walk with walkers now. How sad is that?
Right. So in their case was maybe a little too late.
Well, maybe people in today's world, there's some kind of almost disapproval on people that go to gyms in the strip mall and work out. It's kind of a culture that is not familiar to the elite, the most educated people. It just isn't. And that's why, I keep appearing on programs like yours. Every time I appear on a podcast like this, the sales of my book go up and the interrogations of our website go up. That means more people thought it was worthwhile seeing what we had to teach and seeing what was on the website. And that's all I care about. I'm 86 and I want to make a change in life, in people's lives.
Well, I can't believe there would be a person out there to argue your facts, because I know they're true. All right, I've been in this business for a while, and I know what you're saying is absolutely correct. I think the biggest challenge is, even after knowing the facts, getting people to, I guess, get in the zone, as they say, make that move, start doing it. I think that's the biggest challenge. Wouldn't you agree?
You are dead bang right.
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody today who said his wife is 60 and she wouldn't read the book. He read it and thought it was great, and she refuses to exercise at all. The average 60-year-old American woman, does not get 1 intense hour of exercise in a year. And that's why they get frail. And we all had Aunt Helen, who was 72 and fell down, broke her hip, and never walked again and died a couple years later. That can all be beaten, all be avoided.
Yep, absolutely. So get the book first and then go to the website. What's your suggestion?
What I would do, I'd go to the website, because we have the book's been in print since December. There is new research coming out literally every week, all peer-reviewed. We put it in there immediately. Some of the stuff you'll read about, for example, when you exercise heavily, just last week it came out that your DNA is methylated. Now, nobody knows what that means, except what it results in is that your genes and your DNA begin functioning at a much higher level because of intense physical activity. When your genes operate better, your whole body's better. Your eyes, your ears, the way you do things, the way you think, the neurons in your brain. It's not just muscles. It's about your whole body functioning at a higher level when you pump iron. And the research, it's just coming out now, because it's only a year that the frailty and aging has not been considered inevitable. It's only a year ago that it was named a disease. Now it's a disease that everybody has, but there is a cure, and it's intense physical activity.
Right. Well, I'll tell you, that was very informative Fred, thank you so much for joining us. Check it out, strongpath.com. Also, you could get the book on Amazon. Check it out. Fred, thanks so much for joining us. Wealth of information. I really appreciate it.
Well, I'm honored to be on your program, and I hope we can make a difference in some lives.
Great. Well, thank you. I know you will. And I want to thank everybody for joining us on the Aging Boomers. Just be safe out there, and we'll talk to you all soon.